Hey, and welcome to episode 11 of the Corona Files, where I'm walking through building high-ticket dropshipping businesses and checking in every day live to tell you what I'm up to. Today, I want to talk about developing the logo, elements of your branding, color schemes for your website, because that's the point I'm up to now. I'm getting some logos designed for the 2 high-ticket dropshipping stores that we've been talking about and that I'm going to be demonstrating this process through. So, once again, in the last episode, I talked about the importance of the name of your business and how that relates to your overall branding. And in my view, branding is very important, even for high-ticket dropshipping businesses. A lot of people think it's not so important. I think that's more for people who are developing their own product, but it's very important for high-ticket dropshipping businesses as well. And your logo, etc., the colors you use, do play a role in your branding as well, obviously. And they need to be things that are recognizable. This is the most important thing, being unique and recognizable, because your branding is not just going to appear on your website. It's going to appear on your social media channels. It's going to appear in things like your retargeting ads, in your emails, and all this sort of stuff. And it's important in those places that people recognize who those messages are from immediately when they receive them, because if they've got a level of trust for your business already, then they're more likely to pay attention to the content of those things if they immediately recognize who it's from. And the quickest way that people recognize things is through imagery, rather than having to read through text and that sort of thing. So, having said that, I like to keep this process fairly simple, as I do with everything. I mean, people tend to agonize a bit over like what does my logo need to look like and all of that sort of business, and what colors should I have on my website and all of that sort of thing. So you've got to keep it really simple is the key, right? So the first thing you do before you can work out, go and run off and get your logo designed or anything like that, you want to work out what a couple of things. So one is you need to think about, what's going to be the colors for your brand. Right, because obviously your logo, the device for your logo may include some colors, and so you want to be able to give that to your designer, whoever's going to create your logo for you. And I really do stress that unless you are a graphic designer with experience in that area, don't create your own logo. It's going to look like a cat vomited, right? I can't do it. I'm terrible at that stuff, so I don't, right? So you've got to work out the colors first. The secret to picking colors is the main color on your website is going to be white. White space is the most important color on your website. And we'll get into that a bit more, how to use white space and why it's so important when we go through the sort of website design episodes, which no doubt will be coming up soon. But white space is actually the most important color on your website. You don't want a really color-heavy design on your website. And so you want your logo as well to kind of match in with the colors that you do use on your website. So it's, for me, I pick 2 main colors that I'm going to use on my website. 2 main colors, no more, just 2 complementary colors. And then I will pick 1 contrasting color for my call to action text or my call to action buttons. And a call to action button on your website is, of course, for example, your add to cart button, your checkout button, and potentially text-based links which form calls to actions. Could also be buttons on like opt-in forms for people to join your email list or anything like that. So the color of those, it actually doesn't matter what color they are. So no one color is more likely to get somebody to click those things. What is important, what is far more important, is that whatever color they are contrasts with other colors on your site. Contrast means it's the opposite color on the color wheel, and I'll share this up in a moment and talk through that in a little bit. But the reason you need contrast is because that makes things pop off the page, right? So that makes those call to actions pop off the page, and so people notice them more quickly than if they blend in with the other colors on your site. So I'm picking 2 colors and 2 complementary colors first. So how do I do that? Well, look, I'm gonna share this up for people who are watching along, and I'll show you a really quick way By the way, I'm going to put all of the links from this episode in with the recordings, which you can get access to at any time. So I'm going to share the link to this page up. This is on canva.com. Now, you probably might have heard of Canva. It's an online graphic design tool, which I use from time to time along with a bunch of others. I think it's a really great tool. They put out a lot of great content around design. And this particular page, there are 100 color combinations and how to apply them to designs. Look, I just get straight in here. So if you're watching along, firstly, they include in here the color wheel or a color wheel. And this illustrates what I was talking about when it comes to contrasting colors. So the color wheel, contrasting colors are colors that are directly opposite each other on the color wheel. And if you want to look at a different color wheel, just go into Google and search color wheel or color contrast wheel or something like that. And you get many representations of this same thing. So let's say on my site design, I choose blue. Blues, shades of blue is going to be my brand's colors, right? Shades of blue. That means my call to actions on my site should be orange, right? Because you can see here that directly opposite blue on the color wheel is orange. If I'm going blues and greens, then I might switch that up to a red. Whereas if my main colors are green, then, you know, I'm going to be looking at potentially a red or a red-purple color, and so on. So that's how you pick the color for like your add to cart buttons and that sort of thing. Now, if you scroll further down in this, basically Canva have put together a whole sort of palette of complementary colors that you can choose from, and they've sort of arranged it by different feels and looks. So you want to have a think about what is the style, what is the feel that I want people to get with my from my site and associate with my brand. And once again, just have a bit of it. Don't agonize over this. Just have a bit of a think about it. If I'm going to sell products that are healthy or, you know, environmentally related in some way or used outdoors, I might go for something that represents the colors of nature, greens, that sort of thing, some blues, etc. Likewise, if I want to go for a professional feel, maybe I'm serving a lot of B2B, I'm going to work with sort of dark blues, maybe some, dark browny black type colors. And so just have a think about that. I'm selling things that I'm going to use in the water. Blues are obviously going to be one of the colors I want to work with, and so on. You know, if I want something that's really vibrant, I'm going to pick some brighter colors, a couple of complementary brighter colors. So going to this page, this is what I do when I want to pick some colors. Like I'm not a designer at heart or anything, but if I want to come up with some colors quickly that I know work together, I come to this Canva page every time and I'll just scroll through it until something catches my eye that I feel is going to represent my business well. Now you can absolutely change this over time. But you've got to pick something to start with, and so that's all I do. And while the Canva page has 4 colors on each one, I will just pick 2 out of there that I feel contrast best. And that's it. I pick my colors. They give you the hex codes for the colors. And so you want to keep a record of those. And that's now your brand's color guide. And you can take those off and get your branding design. You give those to the designer. Say, these are the colors I want to work with, as well as black. Potentially, and you're off to the races. Then when you go in and build your site, you can put those colors into like Shopify and add them to different elements on the website. So once you've done that, you can then go off and start thinking about, what's your logo and stuff going to look like? Now, I think logos need to be very, very clean and primarily text-based. Now, it is okay to have some sort of simple device, and the device is kind of like the little image representation of the brand. And I think that can be okay sometimes, or even often, because that you can use that by itself on things like advertising and that sort of thing, to easily, your emails, etc., to easily give away for people to recognize your brand. You know, the little favicon, that you see in people's browsers, like up here, a little favicon, you've got a little design that looks nice up there as well. But it's definitely not necessary. Text-based logos are absolutely fine, right? And it keeps things a lot simpler. And honestly, if you're going to get a device designed as part of your logo, generally speaking, you need to pay more for the logo, because in my experience, if you get somebody cheap off Fiverr to do a logo for you that's like, $5 or $10, $15, right? Which is where a lot of people start off, and there's nothing wrong with that. But they get like an image representation of their logo. They tend to look pretty like amateurish, right? And what you don't want to do is look amateurish, because you're going to go out and talk to suppliers. You're going to go out and put that in front of people, members of the public. And if it looks like a 5-year-old drew it, then it's not going to do you any good. You would have been far better off just going with a text-based logo. So I'll show you one here. This is how simple it can be. Now, I'm showing on the screen Native Cosmetics, which is a fantastic e-commerce business started by just some individuals years ago now. I think it actually sold to a big pharmaceutical company. I can't remember which one, maybe Johnson & Johnson. I'd have to look that up again, for something like $100 million. Now, they just sell deodorant, body wash, toothpaste. That's basically it, right? But it was created out of some people's homes, and fantastic products, by the way. I've been using them for ages now. So their logo is just the word native. It's done in a font that's it's fairly simple actually, but it is a bit unique to them in their market, and it's generally colored blue, but they do use other colors on their packaging. So on their site, once again, if you look at their site, and this is a really good e-commerce site, it's based on Shopify Plus. They do a lot of great things here with their design, and I'll probably come back and refer back to this when I demonstrate some other things in the future. But their colors are white and a dark blue color. That's it. That's the main colors of their brand, and that's what, aside from the colors of their packaging, and that's what appears on their website. Now, if you look at their calls to action on their website, though, it's a fairly contrasting color. So it's like a darker orangey red color, and that's the contrasting color to the dark blue. And so those call to actions really jump out of the page when they're contrasted against that dark blue. So, but looking at their logo like that, it can be that simple. It really can. Now, the other couple of things you want to do when you consider a logo is to look at what other people are doing. Both the colors and your logo is to have a look at what your competitors are doing. So what are the sites that people are going to be looking at your website next to when they're considering your products, right? And what you don't want to do is pick a design or go for a design style or a font type or whatever that's going to look, or even a color scheme that's going to look very similar to your competition. Because once again, you want to create a unique feel. Being unique when it comes to your marketing is super important. Right? And I'm going to bang on that topic again and again and again, constantly. It's very important. So do consider what other people are doing in your niche, and make sure that whatever design directive you give to your freelancer or your designer or whoever's doing it for you takes an approach that's a little bit unique. And so if you're going with a text-based logo, instruct them to use to actually, like, not to use a regular font type, right? I mean, you don't want to just use one of the font types that are in regular use every day. You want to go out and find there's literally thousands and thousands of font types out there, right? So you want to go out and find one that is going to look good, is one that's not commonly used, so it will still look a little bit different, and it'll still look a little bit special, even though it's just a text-based logo. And of course, you can use colored text as Native have done here. As long as it's generally a darker color, that works best, because you want it to pop out on a white background. Now, when you're doing a text-based logo, I think it's always important to try and keep it to a single line, so not stacked lines, one above the other, so it's rectangular in shape. You've got to fit it onto websites and things like that, and you don't want your logo to have to blow up your whole header into a much larger size. So try and keep it like a rectangle like this, just straight across. And of course, it does make it easier to have a text-based logo when your business name is a bit shorter. So if you're coming up with a business name that's like, multiple words long, while I've done that, I actually think I try to come up with something shorter these days. So that's it. Now, once you've decided on what you want to do in terms of your colors and your logo, you're then going to go off and find someone to do it for you. And so there's a few ways that I do it. Now, I actually currently work with for me, because I get a lot of graphic design work done, because I use images in a lot of ads, and I do multiple websites, do a lot of websites. I actually work with an on-demand graphic design company called No Limit Creatives, and I'll link that up in the show notes for this episode. That's not cheap. It's like, I think $400 a month or something just for their image service, but you can get as many images worked on by a graphic designer as you need to. If you're getting started out, that's definitely not an option. I use that because I do get a lot of graphics created. As I say, banner images, all sorts of stuff they can do for you. So that's what I do, but I will also use Fiverr. So Fiverr is a great place to find graphic designers who specialize in logos at all different types of price points. You can start off really low. You can go up into multiple hundreds. There's not really any right or wrong answer as to how much you should spend on this. What is very important, as with when you're outsourcing anything, is to check on that person's experience. Look at their portfolio. See if you think that what they've done previously is good. They've got good feedback. They've done plenty of jobs. That's the best way to find somebody. So I'm going to link up as well some of the gigs I've used on Fiverr previously to get logos done that I was happy with, and you're more than welcome to use those people as well. And then finally, if you did want to spend a bit more money and you want to get I guess a lot of different designs to consider between, and you're okay with spending a bit more, I've also on a few occasions used 99 Designs, 99designs.com, which is a great experience. Basically there you go, you pay your money, and you'll get a group of designers to put forward proposals to you. So like 10, 15 different people, or even more depending on how much you pay, putting in proposals for your logo that you can choose from, and then work with your final designer to get the final product to your standard. So that's definitely what you want to do. And of course, whenever you're hiring, so that process takes a bit longer. That's going to take you like maybe 5 days to a week to get your logo done. So if you're happy to spend more and wait a bit longer, that's a really good and fun experience to go through, I think, with 99 Designs. But the majority of the time, I just use a service like Fiverr. Keep it simple, keep it straightforward, and make sure when you do hire somebody there that the gig you're getting includes revisions, right? And you should absolutely, with any graphic design work, always feel comfortable going back if you're not quite happy with the result and asking for revisions. It's totally normal, completely acceptable, and you should do it. And look, that's literally it. Something else to consider is that you may want different variations of branding done for you. You might want to get some branding done for your social media profiles, like banner images for your cover art, possibly other things you might use on your website. So if that's the sort of thing you want to do, once again, there's nothing wrong with that. You're going to need those things at some point, and a lot of gigs on Fiverr will do you like a brand pack where they're doing like a logo, cover designs for Facebook, for YouTube, for Twitter, whatever. You may not use all of those, but that can be a handy thing. It's going to cost you a bit more. That can be a handy thing to have done. So look, that's it. That's really the process that I go through. I'm going to be putting up a couple of jobs today for some logos, and I'm going to show you those logos once they come back out. And they're going to be logos that I'm actually going to put onto my websites that I'm going to be, showing you as I build them. And so you'll get to see the end result that I do there. But as always, before we wrap this up, if you do want to get access to any of the episodes, previous recordings, and all future recordings, plus all of the links, things I share, documents, attachments, freebie lessons I'm chucking in there from some of my other programs at the moment. Just go to buildsellgrowrepeat.com/corona-files. If you're watching along, you can see that scrolling along the bottom of the screen right now. So get in there. It's free. There's no sales pitches in there. Nothing to buy. Just go in. You get access to all of this stuff, and hopefully that will help you to grow your business. As always, though, if you do have questions as well and you're watching along with this on the socials or YouTube, feel free to chuck me a comment, ask a question, and I will get back and answer that for you. So that's it for today. Enjoy your day. Peace out, and we'll talk soon.